can feel incredibly frustrating to die early game when it feels like you can't go anywhere without getting your salad completely tossed. There are some general strategies and tricks you can employ to help minimize these deaths and time losses, however. They're especially effective early game, but they can help you throughout an entire run. So let's get to it, shall we? Blocks are your best friend in early game survival, and the most basic one out there is probably one I like to call the box of shame. It's a very basic strategy. You just box yourself off from enemies when your HP gets low and wait for your HP to regen. It's very flexible and can be used pretty much anywhere. While you're waiting for your HP to regen, you can usually poke a small hole in your box to just get rid of the enemies that are threatening to murder you. This strategy is only really bound by your creativity and can be used in a lot of different ways. For example, you can use it to prevent yourself from drowning. You just box yourself off from the water and you have a little breathing pocket just right there. A slightly more hands-on approach is what I like to call the Tetris Piece. No, not that Tetris Piece, the other Tetris Piece. By making an upside-down L shape, most grounded enemies won't be able to reach you, and they'll just helplessly bonk their head against the L and then they'll eventually walk away. It is worth noting that this strategy will not work against most flying enemies such as bats. If you're feeling a bit cheeky, you can always just put the enemy in the box instead, and they won't be able to do anything to you for the rest of its lifetime. And you will be gifting it a new home. Aw, look at that nice little house you made for the slime. While not blocks per se, wooden platforms are invaluable for traversing and dodging enemies. By placing platforms under your feet as you fall, you can explore more easily, avoid fall damage, and dodge enemies. Moving on from blocks, let's discuss how items can aid in our survivability. There are many good craftable items that can be gotten just at the very beginning of the game, including snowballs. If you mine a single snow block, you can turn it into 15 snowballs, which are a decent ranged option early on. Mining cactus will let you make yourself a full armor set and a giant whopping sword. The sword has excellent range for an early weapon, and it is great for self-defense. It only costs 10 cactus to craft, which is basically nothing. The armor is nothing special, but it will give you 5 defense for the full set, and it only costs 75 cactus, which again, is very cheap. A Defuse Trap is another great way to increase survivability. If you grab a dart trap or a pressure plate, you can actually see where all of the trap wiring is. And if you just carry it around with you, you'll just always be able to tell where traps are and never get hit by another boulder ever again. Let's move from items to general survival. Sometimes the best way to win a fight in this game is to just not have the fight in the first place. Many encounters in this game are optional fights, and if you just ignore them and run past them, they won't be able to bother you at all. Another time save with survival is to make sure to always just teleport away if you feel like you're about to die. Dying will always cost you more time than if you just teleported away in the first place. Especially on Expert, this game punishes you very hard with a long death screen every time you die, so make sure you always use your magic mirror and your recall potions if you feel like you might be in a pickle. My last tip for you in this video would be to don't dawdle. Look at the upper right corner of the screen with our radar, and just look how many enemies are spawning while we sit here for less than 30 seconds. That's a lot of enemies. Even just spending a few moments in an area to organize your inventory can end up with you being completely surrounded by enemies. This will generally lead to a death and even a massive time loss, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please leave a like and share with other people who might need it. I plan on making this a recurring series, so I will see everyone in the next video. Bye bye!